During the early and mid-2000s, as broadband internet became more common and video sharing platforms began to grow rapidly, a specific kind of unsettling clip started to circulate widely online. These videos were usually short, contextless, visually degraded, and emotionally ambiguous. They often appeared without credits, authorship, or explanation, which made them fertile ground for rumor. Among the most discussed examples are the so-called Marina Mortigard Glesgorv video, "Obey the Walrus, dining room or there is nothing, and I feel fantastic." Each of these became surrounded by elaborate and disturbing theories, many of which claimed connections to death, mind control, hidden crimes, or the dark web. When examined carefully, however, a pattern emerges. Most of these videos originated in experimental art, personal projects, or edited media fragments, and the most extreme interpretations were fueled more by internet folklore than by verifiable evidence. The case of Marina Mortigard Glesgorv is perhaps the clearest example of how mystery can be manufactured through absence. Around the late 2000s, a YouTube upload appeared under that title, showing a close-up of a man staring directly into the camera with an exaggerated, almost strained grin. The clip was silent or minimally accompanied by faint background sound, and the fixed gaze lasted several minutes. Theories quickly escalated beyond simple creepiness. Some claimed that the original version included subliminal frames encouraging viewers to harm themselves. Others insisted that multiple people had taken their own lives after watching it, and that YouTube had removed most of the footage to prevent further incidents. A particularly persistent rumor suggested that if someone watched the full uncensored version alone at night, they would experience psychological breakdown or hallucinations. There was even speculation that the name attached to the video referred to a real suicide victim whose death had been recorded. However, no confirmed reports, police documentation, or credible journalism ever substantiated these claims. The power of the theory lay in its framing. Once viewers were told the video was dangerous, they began interpreting normal discomfort as evidence of hidden harm. The original clip was unsettling, but its notoriety grew primarily because people claimed it was too disturbing to exist. Obey the Walrus followed a somewhat similar trajectory, but had more traceable origins. The video features distorted visuals of a woman dancing in a hallway, heavily edited with mirrored effects, unsettling music, and abrupt transitions. Online, it was frequently described as footage of a severely ill or abused individual forced to perform for a hidden audience. In reality, the central figure is linked to performance footage of Sandy Crisp, also known as the Goddess Bunny, a performer who appeared in underground art and music scenes. Widespread claim asserted that the performer had been kidnapped and tortured, forced to dance for an underground audience connected to elite criminal networks. Another theory suggested that the editing contained hidden messages or subliminal imagery intended to manipulate viewers psychologically. Some users believed that the distorted visuals were masking signs of abuse that could only be seen if the video were slowed down frame by frame. A darker version of the rumor claimed that the performer died shortly after the recording and that the video was circulated as a form of humiliation. In reality, the central figure was a known underground performer, and the disturbing tone largely resulted from deliberate editing choices. The exploitation narrative emerged because viewers interpreted physical difference and unconventional performance through a lens of horror rather than art. In reality, the central figure is linked to performance footage of Sandy Crisp, also known as the Goddess Bunny, a performer who appeared in underground art and music scenes. The unsettling quality of Obey the Walrus comes largely from deliberate post-production manipulation. Filters, looping edits, and jarring audio design transform performance material into something surreal and ominous. Dining room or there is nothing occupies a slightly different space because it is tied to experimental art cinema. The clip commonly circulated online shows a figure sitting at a dining table in a dimly lit room, with minimal movement and an oppressive sense of stillness. It has often been described as cursed, psychologically damaging, or connected to hidden messages. However, it is associated with the avant-garde filmmaker David B. Earl, and was created as an art project exploring discomfort, monotony, and existential dread. The power of the piece lies in its refusal to provide narrative relief. The camera lingers, the subject barely reacts, and the environment feels suffocatingly ordinary. Because the clip features a static dining table scene with an oppressive atmosphere and minimal movement, some viewers claimed that it contained hidden audio frequencies designed to induce anxiety or paranoia. Others believed it was part of a psychological experiment in which unsuspecting viewers were monitored to measure their reactions to prolonged discomfort. A recurring rumor suggested that the figure at the table had actually died either during or shortly after filming, and that the footage captured real despair rather than performance. There were also claims that if one watched the video repeatedly, subtle changes would appear in the background, implying a supernatural or cursed element. None of these assertions have been supported by evidence. The film's unsettling stillness and refusal to provide narrative payoff created a vacuum that conspiracy thinking readily filled. Viewers expecting conventional storytelling experience unease, which is then amplified by online communities that frame the video as dangerous or taboo. There is no verified evidence that it documents real harm. Rather, it functions as minimalist experimental media that was recontextualized by internet rumor. I Feel Fantastic is one of the most persistent and widely mythologized of these clips. It features a humanoid animatronic figure singing in a stiff, monotone voice inside what appears to be a domestic interior. The mannequin's movements are jerky, its eyes stare blankly, and the song repeats with slight variations. Rumors claim that the creator was a murderer who used the robot to reenact crimes, that the house in the background contained buried victims, or that hidden frames revealed evidence of violence. In reality, the robot was built by an individual named John Bergeron as a personal robotics project, and the song was part of the experiment. The eerie quality stems from the uncanny valley effect, where something appears almost human but not quite, triggering discomfort. Investigations into the video have not produced credible evidence of criminal activity connected to its creation. The murder narrative appears to have been constructed by viewers attempting to rationalize why something so strange and lifeless felt so disturbing. Across all these cases, a consistent pattern can be observed. Each video lacks immediate context. Each presents imagery that feels emotionally off balance, either through unnatural stillness, distorted editing, blank stares, or mechanical performance. Each was uploaded or reposted without clear framing. Into that vacuum rushed speculation. Early internet culture rewarded dramatic interpretation, and forums often escalated theories to extremes in order to capture attention. Claims of dark web origins, hidden suicides, secret cults, or real murders provided a narrative hook that simple experimental art did not. Over time, repetition gave these theories the appearance of credibility. When assessing whether the disturbing theories are real or staged, the available evidence strongly suggests that the most extreme claims are fictional or exaggerated. While some of the performers involved in these videos lived unconventional or marginalized lives, and while some footage may have been repurposed without full consent or context, there is no verified proof that the clips themselves document actual murder, ritual abuse, or organized crime. The horror they generate is psychological, not evidentiary. They rely on ambiguity, minimalism, and the human tendency to seek hidden meaning in unexplained imagery. Ultimately, these videos reflect a transitional moment in internet history, when media literacy had not yet fully adapted to viral circulation without attribution. Viewers encountered fragments divorced from origin, and in that absence they constructed myths. The unsettling aura of Marina Mortigard Gleskorv, Obey the Walrus, Dining Room or There Is Nothing. And I feel fantastic endures not because they expose documented crimes, but because they demonstrate how easily ambiguity can be transformed into legend when context disappears and imagination takes over.